The Persistent Tree. Story by Tiffany Nicole Terry. Illustrations by Nadia Gorski. One day, an acorn woodpecker flew over a forest. He dove down from the sky and snatched a fallen acorn from the ground. He flew back up to the sky, carrying it to his tree to store it for the winter. But during his flight, he started to feel an itch in his throat. He coughed and coughed and coughed. He coughed so hard the little acorn shot out of his mouth and flew down, down, down to the ground below him. The tiny acorn smashed into the dirt, far from where she had come from. It began to rain. The rain pushed the acorn deeper into the ground, and the wind howled all around. The acorn was pushed deeper and deeper into the cold, wet, dark earth. The acorn was scared in this new dark place. She was completely alone, with no idea what to do. She began to stretch out, and she heard a terrible crack as her shell burst open around her. But she wasn't scared. She kept pushing out of her shell until she was out completely. As she reached up, she also stretched down deeper, anchoring herself in the ground as she grew higher. Her head finally came out of the ground. She smelled the air. She felt the heat from the sunshine and the breezes lightly blowing against her. The tiny acorn had begun to change. She was becoming a tree. Her roots dug deeper, and her stems and leaves grew taller. The days were long, the nights were frightening, and storms would come and beat her down with wind and rain. She would be beaten back to the ground again and again, but nevertheless, she persisted. She knew that if she kept standing back up, the sun would always come back out to warm her little limbs. When she was tall enough to look around, she realized that she was still alone. There were no other trees on her hill. As her branches grew stronger, birds would come visit. Some even built nests and stayed for entire seasons. But the winter would come and freeze all her leaves off. The little tree was afraid that she would be alone forever. But every winter ended, bringing back the warm sun. Many years later, and many feet taller, she noticed a change in her branches after the snow melted away. Her branches began to grow tiny flowers. More and more birds came to her branches every year to eat the flowers and acorns. Helping the little creatures made her feel happy and not so lonely. In the face of loneliness, in the face of terrible storms, she continued to stand strong, dig her roots in deeper, and grow taller. What she did not know was that each time she was helping an insect or a bird, they too were helping her. When they came to visit, they helped her spread her acorns. Even though some were carried very far away, many more were scattered close around her. What once was a barren land was eventually covered in very tiny tree sprouts, all digging in their roots and growing towards the sun. She could see and hear the saplings all around her. They chatted happily in the daylight and spoke words of comfort in the cold darkness of night. She was overcome with joy at seeing the grove of trees she had created with the help of her creature friends. "Welcome, my loves," she said. "Welcome to this beautiful and colorful world of ours. Be kind to those who visit you. Help those in need, and you may be rewarded as I have been. And when the rain pounds you down, when the winds knock you over, when the heat burns you, when the cold freezes you, when you feel lonely and afraid, just keep digging in deeper and keep growing taller. Never giving up is called persistence. Be persistent in the face of fear, and you will grow and thrive as I have. Grow wild and free, little trees."